Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is DDubble, but you can just call me Dell. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking a look at a complete guide to the newest form of Ursaluna Bloodmoon. If you guys are excited for this video, please leave a like down below. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe and turn on bell notifications so you don't miss any more videos in the future. Alright, so we're going to jump right on into this. Ursaluna receiving a new form in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, the Teal Mask. This form, specifically, you must complete a side quest to actually unlock, and it is a one-time encounter because Ursaluna Bloodmoon is not breedable, nor will it evolve from Ursaring. I think this is a really cool feature for it. It makes it really fun, makes it feel like its own separate thing, and I do love when Pokemon does these static encounters. Getting into the ability of the new Blood Moon, we are looking at an ability called Mind's Eye. Now, Mind's Eye works very similar to an ability that we already have previously called Scrappy. However, it does have a couple of differences. First off, opposed to Scrappy, Mind's Eye allows for Ursaluna Bloodmoon to ignore evasiveness, and it actually can't have its own accuracy dropped. This makes for a couple of interesting interactions depending on if you're facing Pokemon that might learn the move Minimize, such as something like an Alolan Muck, or a Drifloon would be a great example of something that you could hit with a normal move as well as not have to worry about Minimize. And then one of the newer Pokemon that's actually returned, Clefable, learning Minimize, this would also ignore that, while being able to hit fighting and normal type moves on ghost type Pokemon. I think this is a wonderful ability, and the new Ursaluna form here will actually pose a big threat in competitive play because of this, specifically against things like Go, who normally, being immune to fighting type moves, would not have the weakness to it, being a Ghost Steel type. However, thanks to Mind's Eye, something like Ursaluna Bloodmoon would be able to hit it with a fighting move for super effective damage, causing massive repercussions for any Golden Ghosts that want to switch in on it, which I think is awesome. Getting a little bit deeper into it, we do have the stat breakdown of Ursaluna Bloodmoon. HP stat, big and beefy at 113, a kind of usable attack stat at 70, not the best thing compared to the regular Ursaluna form. If you want to use something physical, I'd recommend just using the original form of this Pokemon. However, where this Mon really starts to pick up its base stats is in its defense and special attack, posting 120 defense and 135 special attack. One of the strongest special attacking Pokemon that has been released in the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games, with a defense stat also comparable to that of the top tier bulky Pokemon in the OU and VGC format. I think this thing has a wonderful potential for certain items such as Assault Vest and Choice Specs because of this, whether you want to break through teams or make up for its kind of abysmal special defense stat of 65, it's able to help kind of fill those gaps with items or certain moves in its move pool, which we will see later on, to help make this thing a very bulky, very offensive threat in any of your battles. Where it does get a little dicey is in its speed, however. At 52 speed, it underspeeds a large majority of the meta, but outspeeds certain bulky Pokemon like Iron Hands in VGC. So you could see something like Ursaluna Bloodmoon form pop up a lot in VGC. Now, if you want to optimize, which just bigger word for saying get the most out of your Ursaluna Bloodmoon, you will probably have to soft reset for it in the game by saving before you encounter it, trying to get something like a negative speed nature, like I think it's Brave maybe, or something along those lines. Might not be Brave, I think it's Quiet, that's what we're looking for, to have a special attack boost as well as keeping that speed nature low. So something to definitely keep in mind if you are going to do it, or you can make up for it with an item like Room Service, which will drop your speed by 1 stat under the form of Trick Room, which I think is where you will see Bloodmoon form, very similar to its regular form, really shine. Alright, well, that's enough of breaking down its base stats. Let's get into a couple of the sets that I think are going to be really good on Ursaluna Bloodmoon. Starting off with an Assault Vest offensive set, max HP, max special attack, modest nature, with 8 SpDef, Hyper Voice, Earth Power, Blood Moon, Terra Blast. Now, Blood Moon, a move not seen before, comparable to that of Gigaton Hammer on Tinkaton. However, it is a special normal type move that cannot be used in succession. This means that you can only click it once, you then have to take a break, and then you can click it again. Similar to Hyper Beam, but without the rest turn. So if you click Blood Moon, you'll have to click one of the other 3 moves available to it afterwards before you can click it again. Terra Fire on Ursaluna allows for it to hit a couple of its major checks. The main one, for me at least, being Corviknight, which is a wonderful check to Ursaluna Bloodmoon, because Hyper Voice it resists and Earth Power it is immune to. So if you want to be able to hit those Corviknights in your OU, UU games, this is going to be probably the move pool that you're looking at. Something for the normal type spam, the Earth Power to hit those Rock type and Steel type Pokemon that might want to switch in on the Hyper Voice, and then Terra Blast Fire specifically to hit those Corviknights or anything else that might be off of the ground in a Steel type, like Air Balloon on Iron Treads. So yeah, that's going to be the Assault Vest singles set. Moving on, we now have our Choice Specs Breaker, very similar spread breakdown, but this time we are Terra Fighting, Hyper Voice and Blood Moon being interchangeable with this set, Earth Power, Terra Blast, and Vacuum Wave. Now, I think something that is going to be extremely overlooked is that Ursaluna Bloodmoon actually has the strongest Vacuum Wave in the current decks. It is 135 special attack, which means that this Pokemon has the highest stat total and access to Vacuum Wave available in at least allowable singles. I'm sure there's a legendary or something like that I might have missed, but this set allows for you to not only make up for Ursaluna Bloodmoon's poor speed stat with the access to a priority move in Vacuum Wave, but still hit those Steel types that may be off the ground for at least neutral, like Corviknight with Terra Fighting. Earth Power, Hyper Voice, and Blood Moon all being very good clicks. If you want to run Blood Moon over Hyper Voice, I would recommend having good defensive pivots around you, like Regenerator Pokemon, so that you can switch them in on the turns that you will have to switch out Ursaluna Bloodmoon, because it does have to wait a turn before it can click it twice. If you go the Hyper Voice or Earth Power route, though, you'll just be able to spam that continuously, which I think is going to be a wonderful thing. And like we brought up earlier, because of Mind's Eye, Vacuum Wave and Terra Blast Fighting will be able to hit Ghost-type Pokemon as well, so you don't have to worry about them switching in. Things like Golden Go are not an option at all, especially even if they're holding an Air Balloon. This thing will still be able to hit them with the Terra Blast Fighting or a Vacuum Wave, allowing for major damage. It can also help in matchups against faster Grass-type Pokemon like Meowscarada, where you want to outspeed it, so you can click Vacuum Wave and don't have to worry about Flower Trick extremely blowing you up. And because of your base defensive stat, any other move that you might have to take, you will absolutely eat up to begin with. So, really fun set. I'm super excited to start using it myself. The last single set that we have today is our Calm Mind Sweeper. We are looking at max HP, 8 special attack, and 252 SpDef. We are a Calm Nature. Now, this is to make up for Ursaluna Bloodmoon's very poor SpDef set. Calm Mind, Moonlight, Hyper Voice / Terra Blast, and Earth Power. Depending on the route that you want to go, Hyper Voice and Earth Power will hit basically everything in the metagame outside of Corviknight. Terra Ghost allows for this to really become a super defensive sponge. You do make yourself weak to things like Earthquake, but you remove... not Earthquake, Knockoff, but you remove your weakness to the fighting typing, which is extremely useful, as well as the ice typing. Two very prominent offensive types in OU and VGC metagame between Urshifu, Chien-Pao respectively. You'll see Terra Ghost being a good option, at least for a neutral click, if you need to save yourself from one turn when you might get blown up. Calm Mind allows for it to set up. If this thing gets to +1, it's hitting extremely hard. Like I said, already with 135 special attack, you won't have to worry about it too much. Leftovers and Moonlight allowing for recovery over time, which can be extremely frustrating to deal with, considering you are going to be boosting the SPDF stat, which is probably going to be the way most teams get around Ursaluna Bloodmoon because of how good its defense is already. And like I said, Terra Blast Ghost being a good option. Ghost ground coverage hits a lot of the metagame right now, at least for neutral. And yeah, I think that this could be a really frustrating set for a lot of Pokemon to deal with. The only Pokemon offhand I could see maybe giving this a little bit of trouble would be something like a Snorlax, at least in what is coming back in the current, DLC metagame that we're seeing right now. This now brings us to our VGC portion. Looking at Bloodmoon in VGC, I think, at least for my bang for buck, it is going to be Oranguru that is going to pair with this the best. This is an offensive Trick Room set. Throat Spray or Room Service, as mentioned earlier, I think are going to be two of the better items for it. These are consumables, and the beauty of putting this next to something like Oranguru is Oranguru has the ability Symbiosis, so when its partner Pokemon uses an item, it then passes it to its partner. So if Ursaluna Bloodmoon uses the Throat Spray or the Room Service, it allows for Oranguru to pass it its item, whether that be a Citrus Berry, a Covert Cloak. If you want to get really crazy with it, it could be a Choice Specs, things like that, which I think could be really, really fun. Protect, Bloodmoon, Hyper Voice, and Earth Power, all viable options, kind of as just like a basic 4 move slot. You don't see very many Corviknights running around in VGC, so this kind of gives you the base coverage to hit basically everything in the metagame. Things that could give it a little bit of trouble, I think, will be Fluttermane off the hop, but depending on the type of partner and the type of team that you're running around, you could always tweak the Terra typing to something like Terra Ghost to help better deal with that, and running Terra Blast over something along the lines of Bloodmoon or Earth Power, depending on the coverage that you want to bring. I think that this will be a wonderful Pokemon to start experimenting with, and this is probably the at least the set that I'm going to try while I start to learn how Bloodmoon's going to work within the VGC metagame. This next set, I would lean to more of the shenanigans side. And yes, I do realize Amoonguss is misspelt. I don't think it should have 2 S's, so I'm not going to spell it like that. You can call him Gus as much as you want. Max HP, 236 defense, and 28 speed. Now this spread is specifically set up to take hits from the major hitters in the metagame, that being Dragonite and Chien-Pao. This thing cannot be 2-hit KO'd unless it's realistically doubled into, and thanks to its Citrus Berry, it becomes near impossible to 2-hit the KO this thing with any kind of physical attack. We have Terra Water to help better deal with Urshifu's clicking Surging Strikes, as well as Chiyu's wanting to spam Heat Waves. The SPDF set is not as viable, I think, in VGC. It's not to say it shouldn't be experimented with, but at least for me right now, I'm not fully confident in it. And then the 28 speed is actually to outspeed most Iron Hand sets. The basic Iron Hand set that is fastest is what this outspeeds right here. So if you don't know what that set is offhand, I'll have it up on the screen just kind of below the Bloodmoon there, so you can take a peek at it. But this outspeeds that, which is kind of the point. We're Protect, Snarl / Helping Hand, Uproar, and Earth Power. Now Uproar I think is a really fun move in terms of preventing Spore and things like that. You probably won't see it very often at all, but it does, help prevent any kind of sleep from coming out. Snarl being a good spread move to help deal with this thing's very, very poor special defense stat, as we keep bringing up, and Earth Power to just hit a majority of the things that'll be coming out. This is kind of more of a support variant for Bloodmoon, and I think it'll pair nicely next to a lot of the metagame, depending on what is going to be available beside it. And yeah, I just think it's fun. I'd love to see Uproar being used, and with this thing's special attack stat being so high, I think there is a viable option for it. So that's going to be it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like down below. Comment any suggestions you'd have or some fun sets that you want to try with the new Ursaluna Bloodmoon. And if you're new to the channel, like I said, please click subscribe. We're on our way to 1,500 subscribers. The support that you guys have been showing the channel lately has been awesome, and I can't say thank you enough. I hope you're enjoying the new Teal Mask DLC. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye!